Hello everyone and welcome back to IELTS Time. I'm Archer and today we're tackling a Part 2 cue card. Describe a difficult thing you did and succeeded in. You should say what it was, how you completed it, why it was difficult, and how you felt about it. To help you prepare, we'll go through 2 model responses and 7 simple ideas so you can find your own perfect story. Let's jump in, starting with Joseph's response about completing his university thesis, a classic academic challenge.
One difficult thing I did and succeeded in was completing my undergraduate thesis during my final year at university. It was a challenging experience because it required a lot of independent research, critical thinking, and writing skills, all of which were new to me at the time. On top of that, I had to balance this demanding project alongside my regular classes and part-time job. To complete the thesis, I started by choosing a topic I was genuinely interested in, which helped keep me motivated throughout the process. I then created a detailed plan that broke down the work into manageable steps, like gathering sources, conducting experiments, and writing different sections. I also met regularly with my supervisor for feedback, which was invaluable for keeping me on track and improving the quality of my work. The difficulty mainly came from the sheer amount of time and effort it took, as well as the pressure to produce something original and well-argued. At times, I felt overwhelmed by writer's block and the fear that my research wasn't good enough. However, by staying disciplined and seeking help when I needed it, I managed to push through. When I finally submitted my thesis and received positive feedback, I felt an enormous sense of accomplishment and relief. It was one of the most rewarding experiences of my academic life, and it boosted my confidence in my ability to tackle complex tasks independently.
That was an excellent response from Joseph. He describes a major academic project and shows how he manages it with a detailed plan and regular meetings with his supervisor. He makes it clear why it is difficult, time pressure, the demand for originality, and balancing responsibilities. Most importantly, he shares his feelings honestly, moving from feeling overwhelmed to feeling proud and accomplished. His answer shows exactly how a candidate can fully address every part of the cue card. Now let's hear Blondie's response. She chooses a much more relatable, everyday challenge, learning to drive.
One difficult thing I did and eventually succeeded in was learning to drive. When I first started, I found it really challenging because driving requires coordination, focus, and confidence, all things I lacked at the beginning. Plus, I was quite nervous about making mistakes on the road and causing accidents. To complete this, I took driving lessons from a professional instructor who was very patient and helpful. I practiced regularly, both in controlled environments and on busy streets, gradually building my skills. It took several months of consistent effort, but eventually I passed the driving test. What made it difficult was not only the technical skills involved, but also overcoming my fear and anxiety. I had to stay calm and focused, which was mentally exhausting at times. However, with practice and encouragement, I improved steadily. When I finally succeeded, I felt an immense sense of achievement and relief. It boosted my confidence and gave me a new level of independence. Looking back, it was definitely worth the hard work, and I'm proud of myself for sticking with it.
That was a straightforward and relatable answer from Blondie. She talks about learning to drive, explains how she practices regularly, and shows how she builds her confidence step by step. She makes the difficulty clear, her nerves, the fear of mistakes, and the challenge of coordination. She also explains her feelings, moving from anxiety to relief and pride. Her answer is a great example of how to keep things natural, while still covering all the details the cue card requires. All right, let's move to the most important part, finding your story. I've prepared 7 ideas. Don't memorize them. Just pick the one that feels real to you. One strong option is learning a new language. The challenge is usually grammar, vocabulary, or speaking fluently under pressure. You succeed by building daily habits. maybe using apps, taking classes, or practicing with native speakers. And the success can be measured in small but powerful ways: passing a test, holding a conversation, or even watching a movie without subtitles. The feeling is pride, motivation, and sometimes even surprise at how far you've come. Another common challenge is giving a public presentation. Many people find this terrifying because of stage fright or fear of making mistakes in front of others. You might overcome it by rehearsing carefully, organising your ideas into clear sections, and practicing in front of friends. On the day, it still feels nerve-wracking, but once it's done, the sense of relief and the boost in confidence can be huge. You could also talk about learning a difficult skill, like swimming, coding, or cooking. At first, it feels confusing, frustrating, or even scary. But with proper lessons and steady practice, you start to improve step by step. Looking back, the moment you finally swim a full length, write a working program, or cook a dish perfectly is incredibly rewarding. It feels like you've earned a real accomplishment. Now let's look at something more personal: recovering from an injury or illness. The difficulty is not just physical, but also mental. Progress is slow, and it can feel discouraging. But with patience, therapy, and consistent effort, recovery comes little by little. And when you finally regain strength and mobility, the feeling is powerful. You realise how resilient you are, and you feel grateful for your health. Another idea is organising a major event, like a wedding, a school fundraiser, or even a community project. The challenge comes from handling so many moving parts: schedules, budgets, and people with different opinions. To succeed, you need planning, delegation, and teamwork. It's exhausting, but once the event runs smoothly, you feel not only relief, but also a deep sense of pride in what you've accomplished. For something academic or work-related, you might think of solving a big group problem. Stress, tight deadlines, and disagreements make it difficult. But by showing leadership, reorganising tasks, and motivating your team, you bring everyone back on track. When the project succeeds, you feel proud of your problem-solving skills and your ability to guide others. And finally, there's moving to a new country. This is one of the toughest challenges because it combines culture shock, language barriers, and starting from zero in a new environment. At first, it's overwhelming, but by immersing yourself in the culture, learning the language quickly, and staying adaptable, you gradually settle in. The reward is independence, courage, and the pride of building a new life from scratch. So there you have it, 7 possible ways to approach this cue card. But remember, you don't have to use any of these. Maybe you already have your own experience that fits even better. The key is to keep it personal and honest. Focus on the challenge, the process, and the feelings. That's what makes your story authentic. Now it's your turn. Think of your own challenge, outline it with the cue card points, and practice saying it out loud. Thanks for watching. If you found this useful, hit like, subscribe, and share your example in the comments.